Oh, so now we're worried about safety? Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and there are two stories we have to do on safety today. One about Uber, one about Lyft. This is the Uber video. I recommend you check out the Lyft one as well. The Lyft story is slightly more positive than the Uber one, as you know, per usual, but of course they both have their flaws. Now, this might be some repeated information. If you've already seen the other video, if you haven't, it's going to be linked at the end of this one. But we all know that safety has not been a huge priority for either Uber or Lyft. Granted, they had to build up a system to convince people that it was safe to get into cars, like strangers' cars, which is something that we had been trained not to do for a while. And that's why we have like the 5-star rating system, where if the driver has less than 4.6, they are deactivated. Therefore, we are keeping very, very high standards. But aside from that, Uber and Lyft have never really considered safety a huge problem. They don't fingerprint people. They don't, their background checks are considered a joke. If a passenger is assaulted or beaten in any way on the platform, their response is typically, oh, we're sorry to hear that. Here's a $5 credit. We're working with the authorities. We'll try to do better next time, every single time. If it's a driver, well, it's kind of a sucks to be you. But here's the eye-opener for Uber. As Uber warns investors about upcoming safety report as it preps to go public. This is a story really about two things when you get down to it. First of all, it is about Uber's appalling safety record, how much they've attempted to hide it, and really about how Uber continues to just make themselves be the one company you don't want to invest in. I've actually heard investors tell me that their S1 filing for their IPO is by far the most complicated one they have ever read. So take of that what you will. But anyway, according to the CNN article, as Uber readies to go public, it's warning investors about a safety report it plans to put out this year that could negatively impact its brand. In its IPO paperwork filed Thursday, went too far, Uber addresses a forthcoming safety transparency, and my roommate is using a vacuum right now, so I'm sorry if you hear that. Report it expects to release this year, which will include data on claims of sexual assaults and other safety incidents on its platform. The report could have a detrimental impact on the soon-to-be public company's reputation, Uber warns. Oh boy, you're in trouble when Uber's like, hey, our reputation, the one that's worth jack squat, it's about to be harmed because of a report we're releasing. Oh yeah, that's comforting. Give us $10 billion. I love it. Uber first pledged to release this report nearly a year ago in response to a CNN investigation that found at least 103 Uber drivers in the United States had been accused of sexually assaulting or abusing their passengers in the previous 4 years. The drivers were arrested, wanted by police, or had been named in civil suits related to the incidents. It was the first time that any number had been put to the issue. Quote, the public responses to this transparency report or similar public reporting of safety incidents claimed to have occurred on platforms may result in negative media coverage and increased regulatory scrutiny and could adversely affect our reputation with platform users, the company said in the filing. Over the last 2 years, Uber sought to move past a series of scandals that upended the company, including allegations of sexism and harassment, a damning investigation into the workplace culture, and the exodus of nearly all of its C-suite. The company has since steadied itself under new leadership, but the transparency report warning is a reminder that safety issues continue to pose a threat to Uber's brand. Not to mention, it should be pointed out everyone's safety, whether you're a driver or a rider. Uber said in the filing that the successful rehabilitation of our brand will depend largely on maintaining a good reputation and minimizing the number of safety incidents, as well as working to improve its corporate culture and maintaining ethical behavior. What does your corporate culture have to do with safety reports? Are you saying that your corporate culture has these problems? Because if that's true, then yeah, maybe you should have been fixing that a long time ago, but that's a very, very bizarre thing to put in there. After CNN started asking questions about assault incidents, Uber announced increased safety measures in 2018, including a partnership with Rapid SOS, a company that sends a rider's location and relevant information to a local police agency when the rider uses the emergency button in the Uber app. Uber also revamped its background check policy to conduct annual checks on its drivers, although didn't include fingerprinting. Kind of funny how Uber and Lyft are kind of the same in that regard. Uber ultimately announced that it would do away with a policy that previously forced individuals with assault complaints into arbitration and made them sign non-disclosure agreements. Uber is currently facing legal actions related to safety around the country. Yeah, okay, whatever. So anyway, in its filing, Uber addresses both assault incidents and allegations against drivers, as well as people impersonating drivers, noting it may receive negative press coverage. As a result, that would adversely impact our brand. That seems like we just read that. A lack of transparency about the number of incidents involving drivers has been a sticking point in lawsuits against the company. They have claimed Uber tries to hide the scope of the issue from its customers. Oh, I have no doubt they try to hide it. Because, again, it could affect their brand and reputation. And that's all Uber has right now. They certainly don't have money. I mean, that's why they're going public before they're even profitable. They need money. But their reputation's still there. They're still a verb. People still say, hey, let's call an Uber, even when it's a Lyft. I mean, how many times have I driven on Lyft and people in the Lyft car said, I'm in an Uber on the phone? It's like, oh, well, whatever. Lyft, Uber's chief rival in the U.S., isn't immune to safety issues. CNN investigations last April also uncovered similar incidents of assault on Lyft's platform and is playing catch-up on safety features. On Monday, Lyft released a blog post announcing it's rolling out continuous criminal background checks. Oh yeah, well, we kind of discussed that in the other video. Now that I read this a little bit closer, I probably should have just made it into one video, but oh well. So yeah, that's kind of a scary thought. And I kind of wonder, what report, is this a CNN report that they're talking about? I'm assuming this is a CNN report, and something tells me CNN definitely dug up some dirt. They probably talked to drivers. Heck, I actually talked to CNN about something. I don't know what the story was about. It was just someone from CNN wanted to talk to rideshare drivers. They saw my channel. They asked me a few questions. One of them was about safety, but otherwise they were asking about pay and everything like that. I don't know really what came of that article. Maybe it's this one. I don't know. But if CNN is poking around, then I think we're at the point where the public's goodwill towards Uber is basically dead. Because for years, I have watched the public basically give Uber the biggest pass in the world when it comes to how drivers are treated and how they're paid. And now they seem to be very, very concerned about the drivers. And of course, with that recent incident with Samantha Johnson's son, well, they're even more concerned about safety, and people are finding out what we have known for a long time. Uber is an appallingly unsafe program to use. It's not a great service if you want to get results. And going to the cops, maybe Uber will help the cops, but otherwise, who knows? You're not safe on Uber, typically. You're just not. Granted, you might not be completely safe on a taxi. We did hear stories about crazy taxi drivers throughout the years, but there's just so many more Uber drivers, and the entry barrier is so much thinner or lower, whatever the term is, that more of them wind up on it. So it's not surprising that this stuff starts to happen. And yeah, Uber's trying to get ahead of the story. Also, they're being more honest with everyone because they had to file that IPO, and it's so big. We're finding out new things about the S1 pretty much every day, and that's why there's so many videos like this recently, because there's a couple videos that I've got finished that I want to share that just have to be on the back burner because of news stories like this. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave it. Again, it's going to be very interesting to see how people react to this, how the investors react. I think Uber's brand is not, it's going to be very, very difficult to save it at this point, but we'll see what happens. In the meantime, what do you folks think about this? Do you think you know what's going on? Who do you think the report is from? Do you feel Uber is safe? I'd love to know. So comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly and to get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. Also, if you want to save on gas, because I know that the gas prices are going up more, check out the Get Upside app. It's totally free. You'll get discounts on every gas purchase. I love it, trust me. Also, check out the Apptrepreneur Vlogs channel. It's a brand new channel, but new content is coming on a weekly basis. And finally, if you want to talk to me or other fellow rideshare drivers, check out the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. It's free to join. You have to be approved, but unless you have some crazy picture on your Facebook page, we've been approving most people. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.